Today we will be talking about scholarship options for doing MS in the US. So this would be the topic of the webinar, and all the information would be restricted to this only. We do organize these webinars every month, so we will have webinars on different topics. So stay posted, keep checking our website. Today we will be talking about scholarship options. My name is Aryama Datta Saikya, and I look after the operations and the R&D division in Jamboree, and I'll be walking you through the information necessary for scholarship in the US. What are the different types of scholarships available? The most common form of financial aid or financial assistance is called assistantships. So this is the most common type of scholarship. There are different types of assistantship. The first type is the teaching assistantship, then there is research assistantship, and then there is graduate assistantship. So there are three types of assistantships that universities provide. The most common type of assistantship is the research assistantship. Teaching assistantships are often not offered right at the time of getting admission. If people have teaching experience, let's say if you are a lecturer in some college, then you might be considered for teaching assistantship, but more often than not, teaching assistantships are not offered along with the admission offer. Graduate assistantships are also offered quite commonly, but among Indian students, research assistantship is the most common assistantship. Very often, assistantships are combined with fee waivers. As you know, in the US universities, most universities have two types of fees. One is called outstation, and the other is called in-state. International students have to pay the outstate fee, which is about 50% higher than the in-state fee. But if you are given an assistantship, then automatically the student has to pay in-state fee. So obviously you get two kinds of gains. First of all, you get a huge fee waiver. Paying the in-state fee is in-state fee is much cheaper. You also get to get paid for the assistantship in the form of research assistantship, teaching assistantship, or graduate assistantship. Most students end up getting some sort of assistantship after the first semester. So this is what we have seen at Jamboree. We get lot of students applying through us every year. So even if students are not able to get an assistantship right at the time of admission, they are still able to manage some kind of assistantship after the first semester. So we discussed one type of scholarship, one type of financial assistantship. The next is scholarship. There's a minor difference between scholarship and assistantship. Very technical difference, basically, nothing much to do. In scholarship, if somebody gets a scholarship, then the university just gives that money to them, either in the form of a tuition waiver or in terms of grants. So the university just gives the scholarship and fellowship are the same word, basically. Some universities may have fellowships, some have scholarships, so it's just an award, right? The money is just given to the student in the form of fee waiver or grants, right? So the student does not have to do anything in return. However, in assistantships, if somebody gets a teaching assistantship, then he will need to teach. If somebody gets a research assistantship, then he has to help a professor in his research. If somebody gets a graduate assistantship, then also he might have to do some or the other form of work for the university. So in return for assistantships, students have to give their time, 20 hours per week they have to work for the university, depending on what kind of assistantship they get. However, for scholarship and fellowship, the student does not have to do anything in return. Scholarships are handed out based on merit, obviously. Most universities give 100% scholarships to PhD students. Of course, this seminar is mainly for MS. This is just a little bit of information that most US universities, today in this webinar we are talking only about US. So US universities, most of them, they give 100% scholarships to PhD students. The two most common assistantships that are given along with admission are research and graduate. There is another question from Ashish. Can we get scholarship without GRE? Ashish, if GRE is not a requirement to apply to the program that you want to apply for, then it will not be a criteria for scholarship also. But in the US, most of the programs of good universities, they need GRE for admission. Rishika Sinha, his question is what maximum percentage? Well, you can get up to 100% scholarship also. Akash, so there are a lot of questions based on how to get this scholarship. So obviously, just these will be covered in the next few slides. How to apply for this scholarship, how to improve your chances, all of these will be covering. Now, factors impacting scholarship decisions, or in short, what do you need to do in order to get these scholarships? What are the different criteria? What should you be keeping an eye out for, right? Factors impacting scholarship decisions. Okay, I'll take everybody's questions later on. Okay, depends on the university. There are universities which do not give scholarships to international students. So while applying, if you are totally dependent on scholarships and financial assistance, then check out the university's website. There is always a section called admissions and financial aid. So check out that portion of the website of the university to see what their policy is on international students. There are universities such as University of Southern California, University of Pennsylvania, University of Texas, Austin. So in these kind of universities, or even University of California, LA, UCLA, they give very limited scholarships to international students. So if you are totally dependent on scholarships and financial assistance from the university, then you should not be applying to the universities where scholarships are not given abundantly to international students. So this is one thing that you have to keep in mind while you are applying to universities. University selection step itself, you have to make sure that the university's policy on giving scholarships to international students is open. It depends on the program. Now what does that mean? It means that some programs like MS Computer Science, MS Electrical Engineering, so these are very common programs and there are a lot of applicants for these programs. So at the time of applying, so when you're applying, at the time of applying, it's very difficult to get scholarships for this program. So in the same university, somebody applying for MS Mechanical or MS Petroleum Engineering, maybe they have higher chances of getting a scholarship than somebody applying for MS in Computer Science, purely because the competition is very tough. The most important factor, now coming to see these 2 points, depending on the university, depending on the program, so these two things you cannot do much about, right? But for research work, now we'll talk about the points that you can do now to improve your chances of scholarship. So I would advise everybody to just listen. We can have questions later on. Okay, this is a important part of the webinar, I would say. So research work, this is the most important criteria based on which the assistantships are given. Next point is strong academic record. Right, see, for getting admission criteria and scholarship criteria are not always the same. For admission criteria, you can make up for a poor academic record with a good GRE score. But for scholarship decisions, the GRE score does not matter as much as good research work and strong academic record. A strong SOP is very important to make your case for getting scholarships or while applying for scholarships. Now this is a very minor thing that students don't know. You would need a TOEFL score of at least 100 to become eligible for either research assistantships or teaching assistantship. So when you are applying, when you are preparing for your exams, GRE, TOEFL, in TOEFL you have to target a 100. As you all know, TOEFL is out of 120. Pulkit and Vardhan Singh, SOP means statement of purpose. Now I will elaborate on some of these points. Now what is research work? As I said, this is the, again I am repeating myself, research work is the most important component. We have seen cases where people with very high GRE scores also don't get scholarships, but people with lower GRE scores, they manage to get good scholarships, even up to 100%, if their research work is good. Now this is again, everybody just pay attention. This is the most important part of the webinar actually. First of all, projects. Engineering students, I'm assuming that a lot of you are engineering students. So engineering students do a project in the final year, so that counts as research work. In addition to that final year project, if you have been doing other projects throughout your engineering, that helps. For non-engineering students, if your degree, whatever you are pursuing, your BSc or MSc, if your degree allows you or has a project included in it, that helps. If not, try to do research projects. It can be something as simple as a literature review also, but having lot of projects in your profile, in your CV, helps. Not just helps, it becomes a major component of the research work. Well, yeah, bachelor dissertation, Pramit, that would count under research work. So Pushkar, you have a total 18 projects. That is like amazing, that would definitely help. Okay, now let's just go over the list. Second is paper presentations and publications. Now in India, getting publications, getting published in research journals at undergrad level is very difficult. So if somebody has publications, you will definitely gain a lot of points, lot of advantage over other applicants. Industrial training, somebody had asked about industrial training. So yes, industrial training and industrial projects also count as research work. Again, engineering students, I have seen some universities in India, some colleges in India, where it's mandatory to do 2 industrial trainings, one after the second year and one after the third year. So that helps. So industrial trainings, internships, they also come under research work. Rajan, actually nobody needs to note down the points. As I said, this webinar is getting recorded and it will be up on YouTube in a couple of days, so nobody needs to note down anything. Okay, right. So participation in, so the fourth point in research work is participation in seminars, conferences, paper presentation competitions, even at the college or department level. So that so Pushkar, I think your question is answered, that even at the department level or college level, that will also help. Now participation does not mean just sitting and listening. Participation means if you have presented in seminars, presented in conferences, and I know a lot of colleges have paper presentation competitions or technical festivals. So if you have done anything in those, they also come under research work. Then participation in activities of academic societies such as IEEE, CSC, these are academic societies, right? So if you are members of these societies, if you have published anything in their quarterly journals, or if you have arranged any seminars, or if you have participated in any kind of activities of these academic societies, they also come under research work. These are the things that come under research work. Now if you have work experience, let's say you are a software, and you did your bachelor's in computer science, now you are working as a software engineer, right? So that work experience does not actually count as research work, but you can, if you have completed projects, even software projects, you can present them in the form of research, right? So work experience in itself does not count as research work, but the work that you have done, that you can present as research work. So Shreya, I think I already covered that academic record is important. Most important criteria is research work, right? Then for scholarships, the next thing, of course, if you have good research work plus good academic marks, then it's like that's like a winning profile, right? GRE score is not that important for getting scholarships. Then technical blog, right? So if you do not have anything of these, now these are something that you need to work on right from your first year of engineering. Let's say you do not have any of this. Let's assume that you do not have any of this, but this is something you can do. You can start a blog and start posting technical stuff on those. So this is like the last resort if you have not done anything till now, but you can still do this. So you can have on blogspot or WordPress, you can start a blog and start making technical posts. Alok Pal's question was, what is the process for applying for assistantship and scholarship? There is no separate process. The online application form that you would be filling out for admission, that itself acts as the application form for assistantship and scholarship. There is no other different form. So Ria had a question, are scholarships given rarely in MS? No, Ria, that's not true. There are universities which give up to 100% scholarship. Last year we had quite a few students who got a lot of scholarships, but as I discussed in the previous slide, it depends on the university and it depends on the program. For MS Computer Science, the scholarships is difficult to get scholarship at the time of applying. Very few students manage to get that, but for other programs the competition is not that stiff. Ank had a question, are the financial consideration deadlines applicable to departmental RA and TA? Yes, if different universities have deadlines, application deadline, and there is a deadline if you want to be considered for financial assistantship. So if you want to be considered for financial assistantship, then you have to apply by that deadline. So Alok, I think I answered your question. Pranab Pai had a question, is it true that scholarship is not given for spring term? No, Pranab, it's not true. In spring, about 25% of the universities take students. If there are 100% of students, universities take students in fall, only about 25% take students in spring. So the number of universities available is less, but it's not true that scholarship is not given for spring term. Pragnesh, your question is how much GRE score we need for getting scholarship. I think we already covered that. GRE score is more of an admissions criteria. For scholarship, GRE, once you get admitted, then the scholarship assessment process starts. And then the first thing that they are going to look at is your research work. Pulkit, your question is a little out of context. If I am doing a 3-year course in India, can I apply for GRE? I think that's a little out of context. You can email us at webinars@jamboreeindia.com and we'll get in touch with you regarding this. Arun Shankar's question is, can we get assistantship while getting admission? Yes, Arun Shankar. Universities give assistantship offers at the time of admission. Sthal had a question, does the assistantship get carried forward to other semesters? Yes, there is a minimum GPA requirement. So if you as a graduate student, you would be required to maintain a GPA of 3 out of 4. So if you maintain that GPA, then the assistantship gets carried over. But if your GPA falls below 3, then very often the assistantship is cancelled. Himank had a question, what is the criterion of getting scholarship? So Himank, I already covered that. Shrey had a question, can we get scholarship for summer research internship at US universities? Ashish has a question, can we apply for scholarship even after deadline is over? Well, no, you can't. While you are applying to universities, be very, very observant of the various deadlines. Alok Pal has a question, could you please provide the list of some universities that offer appreciable scholarships to Indian students? Well, it varies from program to program. So I mean, it's not, there's no one blanket list of universities. It definitely varies from program to program. Okay, Gauri has a question. What if a person from certain field like engineering want to change his field for master's degree? So what shall be his SOP? Okay, the next slide is going to be about SOP and how to have a very strong SOP. So you will get your answer there. Okay, Swapnil, your question is, this will not be a legal question, but as you know, anything can be prepared. Okay, Swapnil, you are right. This is a question that I cannot answer for you. If you want an answer, you have to write to us. Anabil's question is, I have presented a paper at a conference, but the journal where it is to be published has a questionable impact factor. That is okay. As I said, universities know that in India it's almost impossible to get a publication at the bachelor's degree level. Pratik has a question. If I want to apply for MS in CS and if I have some projects in biogas plants and business plans on the same other than my 2 BTech, well, yeah, that is good, that is fine. Right, okay, so I'm not taking any more questions. I'm coming back to this presentation. So I hope I was able to address some questions. Right, now what is a good SOP? Again, I have to ask everybody, I will have to ask everybody to really pay attention. An SOP or statement of purpose is the most important document that you are going to write as a part of your application. Now here there are some things that students miss out on. I have been doing admissions counseling for like 9 years now, and there are some things that students, I see that they kind of always miss out on. First of all, an SOP should tell a story. Content and flow are more important than the language. This is where a lot of students go wrong. They start the SOP with some poem or with some quotation. Well, if your MS and PhD degrees are academic degrees, and the statement of purpose is not a place to showcase your English writing ability. I mean, the GRE takes care of that, right? So the SOP, the statement of purpose, should be more like a, it should be a technical format. It should not be you should not be using very big words. It should not be flowery, right? It should be as technical as possible, and the flow is very important. The movement from one paragraph to the other, it has to be in sync. As I said, it should be more like a story. It should read like a story. It should make sense. It should not be just a bunch of the vocabulary that you memorized as a part of your GRE preparation. Now, a good SOP. What is a good SOP, right? So a good SOP should address the following questions. Not necessarily in that order, but a good SOP should address these 4 questions. An SOP should be around 700 to 1200 words, should not be less than 700 and should not be more than 1200. Some universities specify the length, right? So if a university is asking for a 500 word SOP, then you have to write a 500 word SOP, of course. But if the word limit is not stated clearly, then you have to ensure that your SOP is not shorter than 700 words and not longer than 1200 words. Right. So the first question that a good SOP should answer is, what do you want to pursue? This is a very simple question, but you will be surprised to see the number of SOPs where the student does not actually even say what he is applying for. So while you are applying applying to universities, make sure that you mention in the very first paragraph the exact name of the program that you are applying for. Okay, and you should not say that I want to apply for a graduate program in this, or I want to apply for higher studies in this. Just be very name of the program. I want to apply for MS in computer science, or I want to apply for MS in financial engineering, right? So be very clear. The name should match the name of the program that you are writing in the first paragraph, should match the name of the program that is offered by the university. Why I am saying this is that you guys will be applying to 7-8 universities, and the same program in different universities may have different names, right? So be very careful, and you will be most certainly applying to all these 7-8 universities with almost the same SOP, which is perfectly fine. But at least make sure that the name of the program is the same, I mean it matches the name of the program that is offered in the university, right? Now second point, second portion that a good SOP should have, and this is actually the majority of the SOP. This portion comprises of 3 to 4 paragraphs. This is where you answer, do you have the adequate academic background to pursue the degree? Write about your bachelor's degree curriculum here, projects, etc. to prove your academic eligibility to pursue the course. Right. Now, when I say bachelor's degree curriculum, of course you do not have to write about all the courses, but at least the electives that you might have taken. Let's say that you have done your bachelor's degree in computers, in mechanical engineering. Now you are applying for a MS degree in robotics, let's say, right? So talk about only those courses that is in sync with robotics. You do not have to talk about the entire curriculum that you have done. And okay, Gauri, your question is, what should be the SOP if a person who is engineer want to do masters in arts? So Gauri, in engineering also, I'm sure there are, if you are a computer and science student, you might have done courses in CAD maybe, or done courses in graphics or animation. So pick out the courses that represent the subject that you want to do your masters in. Okay, so this is what you need to take care of while talking about your bachelor's degree curriculum. Pick out the segments, pick out the courses that are in sync with the master's program that you want to apply, right? So if you are applying for engineering management maybe, right, you have done your bachelor's degree in something, computer science, let's say. Now you are applying for engineering management. Then pick out the courses that are in sync, right? Every engineering course, you have courses like industrial engineering. These kind of courses are the economics. This kind of common courses everybody teaches. So talk about those courses. And in projects, you can talk about any projects. That is the best part. So in projects, talk about any project. So the projects that you have done, they need not be similar, or they need not be in sync with the master's program that you are applying for. While talking about projects, just you have to then highlight that by doing these projects you have developed an inclination to do research. So if the projects that you have done, that those are totally different from the master's degree that you are applying for, then you should say that by doing these projects you have got interested in doing research. That's what you should say, right? But definitely talk about all the projects that you have done. So this is how, and as I said, this is the majority of the SOP. 3 to 4 paragraphs have to be on this. Abhay has a question, it's an interesting one that I will take. If one has written a specific course in the SOP, can it be changed later on? Once you submit the application to the university, you cannot change the SOP. Right, now the third important question that an SOP should answer is, why are you applying to that university? I mentioned earlier that most students, in fact all students, use the same SOP to apply to 6-7 university, which is perfectly fine. It is you cannot change too much of the details, right? But this is one paragraph that you have to customize as per the university that you are applying to. I see a lot of SOPs where students say that they are applying to that university because it has world-class faculty, cutting-edge technology, state-of-the-art infrastructure, etc., etc. These sound very bad, and these are cliches, so do not write these things. Don't say that I want to apply to a university, I want to apply to a university because it has world-class faculty. So that does not, don't write those sentences. This paragraph can be small. This paragraph can be just 2-3 sentences, right? Here you can just talk about name some courses of that university. Name some courses of the university that you are applying to, where you want, with the courses that you want to take. Definitely name a couple of faculty. in whose research group you want to work. Now this is extremely important. So those of you typing questions, just stop and listen for the time being. Go to the department website, go through the faculty list, find out the names of 2-3 faculty who are doing research work similar to what you want to do, and write their names in the SOP and say that, given an opportunity, I would like to work in their research group. So now what happens is that when you are naming 2-3 faculty in your SOP, then your application specifically goes to those faculty to check whether they can accommodate you in their research group or not. So this is one thing. If you do not do this, if you do this, then you are improving your chances of getting financial aid, right? Okay, the fourth question that a good SOP should answer is, why should the university admit you? Now this is the question which most students miss out on. Yes, an SOP should be a technical document, but you should at least write a few pointers about yourself, how you are different from other applicants. So here you can talk about your career goals, maybe your strengths, any uniqueness that you have. This you can wrap up your SOP with this. Actually, if you have good extracurricular activities also, you can write about here. Again, this need not be a very huge paragraph, but this should definitely be a part of the SOP. Gauri, I already addressed this, that if your projects are not directly related to the masters that you are applying for, you should still mention those projects, and you can say that while doing those projects you got interested in research, or you got interested in whatever you are interested in, right? So definitely write about all the projects that you have done. Abhay, your question is the SOP to be written in the same order as it is on this slide? Well, this makes a sensible flow, but you can change it. It's up to you. As long as the entire SOP appears as a cohesive unit, it's okay. These are this should definitely be the first paragraph. Naming the course, this has to happen in the first paragraph. Rest of the SOP you can structure the way you want to. There is no format for a good SOP. There will be a lot of sample SOPs on the internet. Please do not use those. I hope you know that plagiarism is a huge issue in the US. Your SOPs that you will be submitting online, they will be run through anti-plagiarism softwares. So even if you copy paste stuff from university website, or even if you copy paste stuff from any random website in the internet, so that would show up in the anti-plagiarism software and you will get rejected. Pratik, your question is, do I need to have different certificates for community services, or just stating them in my resume? Okay, just stating them in your resume will be fine. MS degree is a academic degree, so the extracurricular activities part, like community service or sports or all of these, they anyway do not have that much weightage, right? Of course, having them will help, but they are not going to compensate for a poor academic record or poor GRE score. Okay, a lot of you are asking questions about things that I have already covered. Vatsala had a question that, will you need different SOPs for different applications? Well, the answer is that you do not need different SOPs for different universities. Just make 2 changes. Just hang on for a second. So you can definitely apply to different universities with the same SOP. You just need to make 2 changes. First of all, check whether the name of the program is same or not. Second, customize some of the information of this paragraph. That should be enough. So I'm repeating, I am seeing a lot of questions around this, that should I use different SOPs for different applications? The answer is no. But you have to change these 2 pieces of information. Also, check the word limit. In some universities there will be a word limit of 300 words or 500 words. So check the word limit. Accordingly, you have to cut down. So let's say your SOP that you have written is 700 words. how do you cut down to 300 words, which information you can cut down on. So if that is the case, then you can cut down on this part in order of preference. You can cut down on this part, right? And you can reduce some of this part. Do not compromise. This part is the non-negotiable part of your SOP, has to be there. I saw a question from somebody saying how to cut down an SOP to 300 words. Arpit, no, you cannot apply to the same university, 2 or 3 branches. That does not make sense. AJ, the community service and all, they do not help in getting scholarships. I already covered the criteria for scholarships. So community service and all, if you were applying for MBA, it's a different story. But for MS scholarship part, it's not important. Ankur and everybody else, work experience in itself does not count. Whatever projects you have done during the time that you have worked, you have to show those as research work. Moving on. So everybody, I hope, is now all set to write a good SOP. You know what you should do and what you should not do. If the word limit is very less, like 300 words, then as I said, do not compromise on this part. The rest you can reduce. Okay, so I'm now going to take some questions, the ones that have been typed, that people have already typed. I'm going to take some of those questions, and if you have any questions, I invite all of you to send your questions. We'll definitely answer. I know 1 hour session is usually not enough, but I'll try to address as many questions as possible. Shrey had a question, does percentage also matter? So I think I already addressed that academic record is important. Aditya has a question, I have a blog with only 55 entries, is that good? Okay, Aditya, just a random blog will not help. For getting scholarship, the blog has to be technical, so you have to write about your research or any kind of literature review that you have done. You have to write about that. So just a generic blog will not help. Pushkar had a question, I have an average academics, but if my professor validates for my performance, will it help? Well, no. I mean, marks, grades and marks, they are facts, they are sacrosanct. So even if your professor says that he's a good student, but if the data is against you, then it will not help much. Shrey had a question, some colleges give 80% at max to college topper, whereas IP students can score more than 90%. Well, yeah, I think you are talking about academics, Shrey. So when assessing a student's academic records, the universities will see, the university that he will apply to, they will see what are the toppers of your university they score. So let's say Pune University or Mumbai University, their toppers score about 70%. So if somebody has a 65% from Pune University, so that is considered to be a good academic record. On the other hand, an Andhra University, let's say, or IP University, people get more than about 90%. So their 65% is not good. So universities that you will be applying to, they will have all this data available with them. Arpit has a question, can I enroll in MS Computer Science if I am from electronics branch? Well, Arpit, the first preference will be given to people who have done their bachelor's degree in computer science. So from electronics branch, it's very, very difficult to shift to computer science, and definitely not possible in the top 20-25 college. Okay, there is a question from Pulkit Goel. Did a BCA degree count for doing masters in computer science? Pulkit, with a BCA degree, you might not be able to get admission in MS Computer Science, but if you have BCA plus MCA, then you are eligible to apply for MS Computer Science. I think Pratik Ranjan, I addressed your question, is it necessary to have the research work in the same branch in which we want to do MS? I think I already addressed that. The research work, the projects, they need not be in exactly the same field. Pranav, your question is, what are the advantages of applying for fall term compared to spring term? Well, as I already said that in In spring term, only about 25% of the universities take students, so your university choice would be less. Wishes I already covered. Yes, projects and research work carry a lot of weightage for scholarship, not probably for admissions, but definitely for scholarship. Gauri, only college activities are counted, not college activities, not school activities. I'm sorry. So only college activities are counted, not school. Swapnil, you can send your answers, your questions to this email ID, and I'll get back to you. I travel around a lot, so right now I am at the Dehradun center, but next week I am going to be somewhere else, so I travel around a lot. So I check this email. Actually, it's configured on my phone, so you can send your queries to this email ID. Okay, so Nashad, remember in the SOP I told you that you have to mention the names of a couple of faculty in your SOP. So once you apply, you should write to this faculty, or actually even before applying, networking is a very, very important aspect, of admission as well as scholarship. So you should before sending in your applications, and definitely after sending in your applications, you should write to the faculty, introducing yourself, giving you can actually present your SOP itself in the form of an email. Just cut down some of the information, but you have to make sure that when you write to professors, do not send any attachments. If you send attachments, then very often the email goes to the junk mail. So write emails, but do not send attachments. Vatsala, yes, freelancing projects, any projects, all of those count, right? So so that's not an issue. Okay, there I am seeing a lot of questions about what is the minimum GRE score for scholarship, right? I think I have addressed that quite a few times, that for scholarship, GRE is not a very important criteria. For scholarship, GRE maybe is definitely an important criteria for admission, but for scholarship, these are the factors, right? Research work, academic records, strong SOP, TOEFL of at least 100. So these are the criteria. Pranav, yeah, of course, the other than the course college availability, there are no other significant disadvantage of applying in the spring term. Pranjal, the minimum GRE score, that depends on what program you are applying for, which college you are applying for. It's a very difficult question to answer. If you are applying for an engineering related degree, then in the maths part, you have to ensure that you get a minimum of 156. Otherwise, you do not get admission in good colleges. Ajinkya has a question. I am applying for MS Exercise Science. I have 3 work experience in the field of sports training for 3 years. I am a national level elite gymnast, coaching gymnastics for the past 5 years with a diploma of sports science from Australia and BA physical education. What are my chances of getting scholarship? So look, Ajinkya, you have not taken GRE or anything yet. So based on whatever you have said, I don't know about your academic record at all, but based on whatever you have said, your profile looks good. Moreover, exercise science is a very, very niche program and the competition is not that much. So if you get if you get a 320 kind of GRE score, you should be able to get scholarship. Himang, if you have 96 in TOEFL, it's not that you will not get scholarship. It's just that your chances will not be that strong. Pulkit, yes, tech certifications from Microsoft, Oracle, Java, they would also count if you are applying for computer science related programs. Not if you are applying for something like mechanical engineering, then it would not obviously count. Yes, Ank, you should definitely write. You should definitely write to professors regarding RAs. You should do it both. See, if you write before applying, then the weightage is not that much, right? After applying, when you write, then make sure that in the subject of the email, you should give the application number. When you apply to universities, after submitting the application, you get an application number. So if you write that in the subject of the email, then the professor will take your email seriously, more seriously, I should say. Vatsala, yes, the professor's email. Go to any university website, you will find that the professor's email IDs are there. You have to go to the department that you are applying to, so the professor's email IDs would be there. Pranjal, what about the English score for MS? See, there are no cutoffs for the English section score, but for math section, for a top 100 college, if you want to get admission, and if you are applying for science and engineering related programs, then you have to target a 155, 156 kind of score in the math section. Vishesh, yes, foreign internships will have a good impact. So if you have foreign internships, then that would definitely make your profile stronger. That would again come under research work. I think Abhay has a question. Is there anything more? So from my end, the information I have delivered the information that I thought you guys would need. For further questions, I would advise you to write to this at this email ID, and I will personally get back to you. So please send in your questions, and please do keep checking our website www.jamboreeindia.com. we have these webinars regularly, and I hope to see some of you in the next webinar. Have a good night.